Good evening, good morning, good afternoon. I'm Aminur Rahman, poet from Bangladesh. Welcome all of you in this session. And today is actually our international meeting for writers in the moon with Tigger. And a few countries' representations are here in Bangladesh table. Very important poet from Malaysia, important poet from India, important poet from Taiwan, and of course Bangladesh and Argentina all is there. So this is the really it's a poetry event. We want to listen poetry from the people, very important poets of these Asian belt. Enjoy. Let's enjoy the event. And I before that I will request uh, the great organizer, if I yelled at coordinator, Leonardo Herman. Can you please give a opening remark to the people? Leonardo.
Hola a todos. Bueno, vamos a empezar esta transmisión compartiendo un video, digamos, que realizó Aminur. Así que vamos a empezar a compartir este video hermoso que realizó Aminur. Y bien, vamos a empezar entonces con Aminur, que es quien coordina. Un gran abrazo para todos. Thank you very much a cada poeta. Aminur, te dejo a vos.
Thank you, Leonardo. Uh, we
Yeah,
will.
hello. So I
Okay,
could
Aisha.
join at least. Hello, good evening. This is Aisha.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. You're late. So anyway, we'll start the program with Aisha's song. Aisha, can you please? Aisha is a participant poet from Bangladesh. She is also a singer. We'll start the program with the Tagore song. So Aisha can sing. Aisha can start the program with the song. Tagore song will sing by Aisha Chaudhary.
This is a Tagore song. It's a prayer song. So I hope you all have idea about Rabindranath Thakur's songs and poems. So let me start with this prayer song today. It's in Bangla. তোমার যত দূরে ধায় কোথাও দুঃখ কোথাও মৃত্যু কোথাও বিচ্ছেদ নাই তোমার কানো মনোলোকে যত দূরে আমি ধাই মৃত্যু সে ধরে মৃত্যুর দুঃখ সে দুঃখেরই তোমাতে যাবে হইয়ে বিমুখ আপনারে আনে চাই তোমার সীমে যত দূরে আমি ধাই হে পূর্ণতম চরণের কাছে যাহা কিছু সব আছে 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 নাই নাই ভয় সে শুধু আমারে নিশিদিন কান্দিতাই অন্তর পলক ফিরিতে কোথায় একাকার জীবনের মাঝে স্বরূপ তোমার রাখিবারে যদি পাই তোমার অসীমে কানলোকে যত দূরে আমি ধাই কোথাও দুঃখ কোথাও মৃত্যু কোথাও বিচ্ছেদ নাই তোমার অসীমে মনোলোকে যত দূরে আমি ধাই Thank you. I have given the translation to Aminur, Mr. Aminur. You may let others see the translation and understand the song, meaning of the song.
Okay.
Very good, very
Thank you.
good, very nice, very nice.
Very
Thank you.
nice, Aisha. Very nice. Actually, we start the program with Aisha's song. It's a Tagore song, very famous prayer song of Tagore. And those who know Tagore, Rabindranath Tagore is a Bengali poet who lives in Bangladesh and India both, and who had written the national anthem of Bangladesh and India both. And he died before 47. So that time it was united India. So we start the program with the Tagore song. Now we want to go to Malaysia. Malaysia, very important poet from Malaysia. Malaki Edwin. Malaki, it is a Malaki or Malachi?
Malachi.
Malachi, okay. Malachi Edwin is a very important professor. He is a professor emeritus of Nottingham University, and he is a poet and a short story writer. And Malachi, he is a very important editor of Southeast Asia, and he did couple of important anthology of short stories and other anthologies, and particularly the students in his university and other Southeast Asian poets and short story writers. Malachi is writing both. I already told. He has books of poetry books, several poetry books, as well as short stories. Recently, actually, he published the best stories of best stories of Asia, which was very remarkable work done by Malachi, and he get lot of award in the country and abroad, and lot of books. And you understand, he's a critic, bibliographer, poet, writer, editor, and moreover, very important professor, Professor Emeritus in English. So this is the interaction, short interactions of Malachi. We want to hear a very wonderful poem from Malachi. And before that, Leonardo, you can introduce to the Spanish word in Spanish. If you can do it, that will be great. Leonardo. Leonardo, are you there? Leonardo, I'm on the screen.
Ahí estamos. ¿Ahí me escuchan? Bien. Decíamos que la escritora, ¿sí? Completó una maestría en literatura inglesa en la Universidad de Dhaka y ha estado trabajando como directora de la Escuela Internacional de Cardiff, Dhaka. Escribe poesía y, poesía, practica música y pintura. Bueno, eso.
Yeah, that is the Aisha. That is the Aisha. You can introduce the Malachi.
What?
No, no,
Hello?
no, it's okay. Malachi. Leonardo.
Okay. Ahí estamos.
Yeah.
¿Nos escucha? A ver.
Yeah, right. You can read in Spanish.
Bien, ahí empiezo. Bien, Malakai es poeta, escritor, editor, crítico, y profesor emérito en Malasia. Tiene varios libros de poesía y cuentos. Sus cuentos y poemas han sido publicados en muchas revistas literarias y ha justamente editado varios volúmenes de poesía de Malasia en inglés. ¿Lo escuchamos? ¿Sí?
Thank you. Malachi, you can read your poem.
Thank you. Thank you, Aminer, for inviting me to be a part of this poetry panel. I will start by reading a poem entitled Price of Peace. This poem was written for an initiative largely with great concern about what's happening in Ukraine today. I will read to you this poem first. It's entitled Price of Peace. Peace is a gentle brook, natural and real. Peace is not things to come, not imagined. We arrive as beings of peace, one with all around us, same flesh, same blood. Then labels are thrust upon us, baptized into societies, branded as nations. Essentialist labels bind us and blind us. We shed our individual beings, stitched together into communities. If you are not with us, you are against us, they say. Taking a stand comes with a price. The price is often peace. This is yet another call to stop a war, a new plea for peace, a shout out for prayers. The callers change with each new war cry. This too will pass. How much will remain? How much will be decimated? Then these calls will be repeated. What is lost? Is anything ever gained? Will we smell the stink of death and see the rubble of destruction? All the display of human unkindness we inflict, on our fellow beings. What new enterprise, what profiteering has brought on this new war? Surely no noble cause can condone this waste of lives. Whose monuments will we pull down now? What new statues will we raise for self-proclaimed heroes? What of the spouses who lost their partners? What of the parents who lost their children? Children and citizenry, casualties all, crushed and broken. My second
Wow.
poem, shall I read my second poem?
Yeah, please.
Thank you.
Malachi.
Thank you. My second poem is on a slightly different tone altogether. It was written for my friend Jeremy from Malaysia, who now resides in Australia. The title of the poem is Let Me Be My Husband. Let me be my husband. Let me love myself first. Let me love myself as I would want my husband to. When my husband comes, I will love him as I have loved myself. He will love the way he can, and if that is not enough, I still have my love in me. The fragrance of my love will suffice where his lacks. Let me be my husband. I am my own love. Thank you.
Thank you. Wonderful poems by Malachi Edwin. Very important poet from Malaysia, and a very important professor of the university, Professor Emeritus. Thank you, Malachi, for your
Oh,
wonderful
good
poems.
poems, very good.
Now, yeah, now the poets from India. She's also a very important poet, Dr. Paramita Mukherjee Maulik. Paramita Mukherjee Maulik is not only a poet; she is a scientist too. Paramita is scientist transformed to a globally loved and award-winning poet. She has 8 books of her poems and have been widely published in Indian and international journal. International journal. She has started, and she is the president of the Mumbai chapter of IPPL, and she's also culture convener and literary coordinator West India of the International Society for Intellectual Intercultural Studies and Research, ISISAR. Some of her poems have been translated, and it is not less actually, more than 39 languages she has been translated. Now the session is for Paramita. Before that, I'll request Leonardo Herman to introduce to the Spanish audience. Leonardo.
Bien, Paramita es científica y poeta, una poeta muy galardonada y querida y apreciada internacionalmente. Tiene 8 libros y sus poemas han sido publicados en revistas de la India y bueno, y del exterior. Ha comenzado y digamos, es la presidenta del capítulo mundial de la Biblioteca de Poesía e Interpretación Intercultural. También es coordinadora cultural y coordinadora literaria en la India Occidental de la Sociedad Internacional para Estudios e Investigaciones Interculturales. Algunos de sus poemas han sido traducidos en 39 idiomas.
Thank you, Leonardo. Now the session is for Dr. Paramita Mukherjee Maulik from India. Paramita.
Thank you so much, Dr. Aminur Rahman. I'm so grateful to you for coming into this wonderful program, Argentina Poetry Festival. And so my first poem for today is, a few years back, I'd just come back from a vacation from France, from the place Nice. And just after that, there was a very bad terrorist activity there. And I had wrote this poem against terrorism, and I had named it Cowards. Oh, gun-toting, bomb-blasting cowards, you can only kill humans. Can you kill their souls? Can you kill the love for them in others' hearts? Oh, gun-toting, bomb-blasting cowards! You can only destroy buildings and monuments. Can you wipe away the history surrounding them? Can you wipe away the labor to build them? Oh, gun-toting, bomb-blasting cowards! You can only demolish and plunder. Can you create a new life? Can you create a new history? Be brave for once. Nurture an innocent child. Be brave for once. Protect someone from harm. Be brave for once. Fall in love with the same madness as your anger. Thank you. This is my first poem. And if you allow me, I will go to a very different genre. I'm trying to bring in, awareness about conservation and climate change to children and adults as well. So I have written some poems. I've published a book for children and adults against climate change and and awareness of conservation. So it may sound a little childish, but I feel this is very important today to make children and adults aware about our ecology, about conservation. So I've named this poem Venomous but Not Evil. And I'm talking about snakes because many of us kill snakes because they are venomous. Snakes. They give most of us goosebumps because some of them are venomous. They may bite us only out of self defense, but nevertheless, we must protect them as they are an essential component of the ecosystem and important for the ecological balance. Here is my poem. I'm a hissing, long, and slithery snake. I may be venomous, but nothing to be scared of. I have a hard and unblinking stare, I know. What to do? I have no eyelids, so the scary show. I flick out my bifurcated tongue now and then, not to harm you, but to smell a scent. This helps in locating and catching my prey. Having my stomach full, I have a happy day. When a snake charmer plays a flute, I sway and sway like a new grown shoot. You think you're watching the dance of a snake. Oh, but I can't hear the flute. It is all fake. You all are scared of me, it seems. Only a few of us are venomous. I don't mean any harm, so let me see the light of day. Live and let live is the motto, if you may. Thank you.
Very nice, very nice.
Thank you. Thank you.
Both of the
As.
poems are very good, very good.
Aminu, you're muted.
Mute.
Yeah, it's okay. Now you can hear?
Yes.
Yeah. Now the poets are from Bangladesh, and not only the poet, she is also teacher and singer, Aisha Sharmin Chaudhary. Aisha Sharmin Chaudhary is completed a master in English literature from Dhaka University, has been working as a teaching profession for long years. Now she is the principal of one very renowned international school, Cardiff International School in Dhaka. She's writing and poetry and practices music and also painting. And she's a multi-talented person. You already know that because of her wonderful voice. We started with her voice of Tagore songs. So now we want to listen from Aisha, her poem, Aisha Sharmin Chaudhary. Before that, Leonardo, can you introduce her in Spanish?
No está, digamos, ahí ya, se fue. No está en el aire, no está en el estudio.
Aisha is not there? Okay.
No.
Okay. She left. I think some problems there.
She's
Anyway.
having internet problem, yes.
Yeah, I think it is. But before that, we can switch over to another person. Now the poet is Ayaz Rasul Nazki. Ayaz Rasul Nazki is a very important from India, Kashmir, India. You know that, and he's not only a very important poet, he's also a very important novelist. Uh, Ayaz Rasul Nazki is an important poet and novelist from Kashmir, India. He writes in Kashmiri, Urdu, and English, three languages. Professor Nazki belongs to a family of scholars and poets in Kashmir and India, and he published in lot of other languages in India as well as outside the India. And her one novel is one of the best-selling novel, and he is writing very actively writing poetry, publishes book, and we want to hear from you. And the poet, very important poet from Kashmir. You know Kashmir, the name of Kashmir, and a beautiful land of the world. And the poet is also wonderful poet from Kashmir, as Rasul Najki. Leonardo, you can introduce him in Espanol.
Bien, muchas gracias, Aminur. Thank you, Aminur. Bueno, Ayaz Rasol Nazki es un poeta importantísimo de la India y novelista de Cachemira. Escribe, digamos, en cachemir, urdu e inglés y es profesor Nazki. Pertenece a una familia de eruditos y poetas de Kashmir, de la India. Vamos a él, ¿sí?
Yeah, as Rasul Rajki. Now turn is your.
Okay,
Want to hear.
thank you, Aminur. I am really thankful to you for including me in this very important session, and for the kind words that you introduced me with. In fact, I would like to read a poem. Only today I got this home anthology. It
Oh.
has recently come, Brown Critique, and there are two poems in this. And this actually was conceived because of this lockdowns, and home had taken a new significance and new importance during the lockdown. So an anthology is on primarily on home and home stay and keeping to home. Here, the poem that I'm going to read is titled In Search. I am in search. I am in search of my home. I am in search of my home in the rubble of memories among the debris of time. I am in search of my home in the rubble of memories among the debris of time. A beehive vandalized by a bear. A beehive vandalized by a bear in the Hatim's tales. A pigeon's nest shredded by the Creole wind. A beehive vandalized by a bear in the Hatim's tales. A pigeon's nest shredded by the Creole wind. We lost peace. We lost peace before the war. We lost peace before the war, the home my father built. The home my father built looked like my mom. The home my father built looked like my mom, safe, warm, keeping the wind out and the bears at bay. That was one poem. I'll read the other poem from the same anthology. It's titled The Tree. Decay began years ago. Decay began years ago. First, leaves withered. First, leaves withered, dried, and fell off. Decay began years ago. First, leaves withered, dried, and fell off. Then the branches twirled and broke off, one by one. The nests disappeared. Decay began years ago. First, leaves withered, dried, and fell off. Then the branches twirled and broke off. One by one, the nests disappeared. Then only a passing bird would rest for a while on the stump of a branch and then fly away, leaving the forlorn tree as lonely as before. Then only a passing bird would rest for a while on the stump of a branch and then fly away, leaving the forlorn tree as lonely as before. The tree. The tree stands in silence, waiting for the gush of wind, its moment of deliverance. Thank you.
Yeah, I one request to you because we want to hear the Urdu poem also one poem from you because of it's my special request. If you can read, if you have a ready, do you
I
have
will, I
a
will,
ready?
I will, I will,
Can you read one Urdu poem
I will,
now?
I will, I will, I will do that.
Okay.
That is, I'll read one. Okay. हाँ ये जो नज्म है, this poem, this is titled एतराफ़. एतराफ़ means a confession. And this poem, I would like to tell you, Amin Rahman, this is also on YouTube, sung by a very young and a darling singer these days among the youngsters. He has put it to his music. It is, I think it has already crossed some lakhs and lakhs of views on YouTube. So that is the poem, Etiraf. Etiraf means confession. Now here the poet actually confesses to a wrong signal of morning. He feels that the morning has come, but it hasn't come. So that is the theme of the poem. While he's lonely, living through a long night, somehow he feels that there are signs of morning, which finally turn out to be all fake and all, deception. So then he confesses to that. This is the poem. चलो चलो मानते हैं कि हम ही गलत थे. चलो मानते हैं कि हम ही गलत थे. न शब की तवालत का शिकवा बजा था, न सूरज की पहली किरण मोतबर थी, न वो सारी सफेदी फरेब नजर थी. चलो मानते हैं कि हम ही गलत थे. न शब की तवालत का शिकवा बजा था, न सूरज की पहली किरण मोतबर थी, वो सारी सफेदी फरेब नजर थी. परिंदे भी सच्चे पैगंबर नहीं थे, वो सुबह का सितारा सहर था, फुसूं था. इजाबत हमारी दुआ की नहीं थी, फजाओं में खुशबू सबा की नहीं थी. कली के चटकने की आवाज बातिल, वो मस्जिद का मीनार खामोश ही था. समात हमारी ही शोरी दसर थी. चलो मानते हैं कि हम ही गलत थे. शबे तीरो तार अब भी जवां है. शबे तीरो तार अब भी जवां है. बहुत दूर किरणों का वो कारवां है. अभी दश्त पर है सियाही मुसल्लत, अभी शब की चादर में लिपटा जहां है. चलो मानते हैं कि हम ही गलत थे. अमीनुल्लाह.
Wow,
Wow.
wow, wow, wow. This
Thank
is
you, sir.
actually beauty of Urdu language
Yeah.
also,
क्या बात है.
and yeah, it's a wonderful language. Thank you,
Thank you.
Rasul Naski. It's a beautiful poem. We understand, and those who don't understand from Spanish world, the Urdu language is a another very important language of South Asia, and particularly Pakistan and few important part of India also speaking in this language. And now the poet from Taiwan. Actually, today is all the important poets from this Asia are participating, and all are highly qualified poets. Not only poets, but also very highly educated. Another doctorate in Taiwan, and she is Yang Chishu. Yang Chishu is a poet, critic, and editor. Hold her PhD in comparative literature. She has published six poetry books and haiku and other poems, and participated a lot of poetry festival. Particularly, she is an integral part of Formosa International Poetry Festival, Tamsui, Taiwan, and she participated in Peru Poetry Festival also. And though she is very young, but she is a very important, promising writer from Taiwan. Yang Chichu, Dr. Yang Chichu, session is yours. But before that, I will request Leonardo, can you please read her little introductions to the Spanish people, Spanish speaking
Sí,
people?
muchas gracias. Ahí, digamos, lo leo a la biografía. Yang Chichu es de Taiwán, es poeta, crítica, editora, digamos, tiene un doctorado en literatura comparada, ha publicado 6 libros de poesía, como Tamsiu en 2018 y Winter Stroll and Haiku en 2020. Participó también en el 2014 en Tras las huellas del poeta, un encuentro internacional en Chile, y en el Festival de Poesía de Formosa en Tamsiu, Taiwán, desde el 2016 al 2021, y también en el 2017 en Capuli Vallejo y su tierra, que esto es en Perú. Así que recibimos, digamos, a Yang, que la va a presentar a Minur.
Yeah. Now the poet Yang Chichu from Taiwan.
Thank you. I mean you to invite me to join the festival, and thank you, Leonardo, to introduce me. I will read my poem, "The Forest." This poem is I write for our land to take care of the pollution around us. So I begin to read. The forest, leaves falling in depression, begin to tell of climate change. In the deep forest, no one has ever known. There was once a withered tree, silently facing death. Humans still enjoying being cooled off by air conditioners. Industry produces conveniences. Smoke declares its sovereignty. My second poem is plastic bags. Plastic bags of trash are piled up like a hill. The landfill sits in a deeply dark basin. Plenty of plastic bags are dumped there, in the expectation that they will disappear from the world, just like a rotten human corpses covered with dust. Rest in peace, the useless bones. Thank you.
Yang Chi, yeah. Can you read one poem in Taiwanese language for us? Because we know your mother tongue is Taiwanese, Chinese or
Yes.
Taiwanese, any language. Can you read one poem, short poem?
I will read plastic bags in Mandarin. 塑胶袋，塑胶袋一包包垃圾堆积成山，在山形底下，掩埋场挖掘深切，将一座座塑胶袋山植入，期盼它离开人世，正如腐烂身躯盖上泥土，安息吧，不需要的骨骸。Thank you.
Now, Aisha is not there, I'm sure. If she's not there, we can switch over to our main organizer, Leonardo Gaston Harmon. Leonardo Gaston Harmon, I want to introduce him in English. Leonardo Harmon was born in 1975, teacher, writer, plastic artist, creator of the International Meeting of Writers, The Moon with the Trigger, leader of the International Federation of Writers for Freedom. He published the enormous Resurrection of the Moth, Lectura Marginal Barricades of Words, the Gospel of Man, director of the International Magazine of Art and Literature, Voices of the Wing. His texts have been published in magazines in various countries of the world and translated into German, English, Italian, Catalan, Arabic, Kurdish, Uzbek, and many more other languages. And you know that Leonardo is a person I want to introduce him because I know him for a long time. My very good friend. Leonardo is a magic man because he can work 24 hours, and I have seen him 24 hours. He run the poetry event one after another, and he can. And last 5 years, I have attended his all these actions, and I have seen his dedications for the poetry, and we want to hear from Leonardo Gaston Herman, the main coordinator of FIEL, and we want to hear from you, Leonardo, your poem.
Muchas gracias, Aminur, querido amigo, dear friend Aminur. Vamos a empezar entonces. Primeras percepciones de la muerte. 2. Recuerdo el momento en que entendí lo que significa la muerte. Era la tarde de un verano que nos obligaba a correr descalzos en el patio. Estábamos jugando con mi hermana. Sandro se llamaba el gato negro y blanco que mi madre bautizó con el nombre de su amado cantante. El felino dio unas vueltas alrededor de nuestros juegos, nos miró a la cara en un ritual incomprensible para nuestra infancia, dejó algo inerte en el piso, una mancha negra en la tierra negra, el cadáver de un ratón tirado con sus ojos oscuros abiertos, con su mirada muerta perdida en el sol, que no volverá a iluminarlo jamás. Fue un llamado de las nornas que anunció su impiadoso orden aquel nefasto día. A partir de ese momento, la única certeza fue la muerte. Todas las criaturas se extinguen bajo este cielo, incluso las imperceptibles. Entonces yo, mi hermana, mi madre, todo lo que nos rodea se extinguirá inevitablemente. Todo esto, todo esto está escrito en el lenguaje de la muerte. Recuerdo que ese fue el primer funeral al que asistí. Agarramos al roedor, acomodamos su cadáver en una caja de té y lo sepultamos con todos los honores en un hueco bajo las raíces de un viejo árbol. Les pusimos una cruz, ignorantes de la religión que profesan los ratones, e hicimos el duelo necesario. Ya no éramos inocentes. La eternidad nos había golpeado con su silencioso libro de los muertos. Thank you very much, dear
Oh,
friend.
thank you, Leonardo. I want to read it in English because I just received it now. Maybe I'll be do the mistake in between. But anyway, this beautiful poem, First Perceptions of Death, written by Leonardo Herman. 2. I remember the moment when I understood what death means. It was a summer afternoon that forced us to run barefoot in the backyard. We are playing with my sister. Sandro was called the backyard black and white cat that mother baptized with the name of her beloved singer. The fennel took a few laps around our games, looked us in the face in the ritual. Incomprehensible to our childhood, left something inert on the floor, a black spot on the black earth, the corpse of a mouse pulled with the dark eyes, open with his dead look, lost in a sun that will never illuminate it again. It was a call from the nuns who announced their impetuous ordered that disastrous day. From the moment the only certainty was death, all creatures become extinct under the sky, even the imperceptible ones. Then my sister, my mother, everything around us will inevitably become instinct, everything. It is written in the language of death. I remember that was the first funeral I attended. We catch the rodent, we accommodate his corpse in the tea box, and we buried him with all honor. In a hollow under the root of an old tree, we put an ignorant cross of, of the religion professed by the mice, and we made the necessary due. We were no longer innocent. Eternity had hid us with his silent. Eternity had hid us with his silent book of the day. Wow.
Wonderful.
Very good, very good.
Wonderful poem, wonderful poem. Leonardo, you read one more poem in Spanish.
¿Otro poema en español decís?
Yeah.
Bien, bueno, ahí va. El Evangelio del Hombre, poema 5. Recuerdo el amanecer en el desierto y María diciendo, todo es sagrado. Sus dedos señalaban el curso de las aves en el cielo. Mis ojos escrutaban maravillados la infinita magia que habita en las cosas. Recuerdo el taller de mi padre y aquella vez que me talló un cordero de madera. Nací en medio de una masacre. La sangre de los inocentes se derramó en el río. Las cuadrigas entraron en las aldeas. Los centuriones degollaron a los niños frente a sus padres. En las noches todavía se dibujan en mis pesadillas los miles que murieron para que yo viva. Cuando terminó la matanza, la fila de cadáveres de bebés tapados por los sudarios, los padres agarrando piedras, echando a los soldados y gritando entre alaridos el nombre de sus hijos asesinados. Dicen que soy el Hijo de Dios y ese Dios que no conozco me habla en lenguas que no entiendo. Cada mañana en el desierto me pregunto, ¿dónde está Dios? Aquel día, 30 monedas. ¿Cuánto vale la vida de esos niños? Thank you.
Wow. Thank you, Leonardo. Thank you very much. You are there, Leonardo? Now it's my turn. You have finished your poem?
¿Otro poema para terminar, decís?
Yeah.
Bueno, ahí va, uno breve entonces. A ver, ¿dónde está? Uy. Acá está, ya está. Bien, ahí va. ¿Cuál es el inicio si estas ramas se retuercen como raíces en el cielo? Si las hojas flotan mecidas por el viento que todo arrastra, si las aves contrariadas navegan por el aire, cual cardumen que busca el remanso, ¿cuál es el inicio? Si estos árboles son la sombra de Dios. Ahí te envío la traducción, ¿sí? Aminur, así ya lo tenés. Ahí estamos.
Thank you.
Acá estamos.
Now it's my turn, ¿no?
Acá estamos, ahí te la envié la traducción, translation, al WhatsApp.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you, Leonardo. Now I'll read my poem. I'll read my poem because of Leonardo read one poem in depth. So I have decided to read one latest poem of mine. It is Death. I think I should read it in Bangla or English. I think my mother tongue is Bangla, so hear the essence of Bangla language.
Yes,
And I can
yes.
Death, Ritu. Silently, soundlessly, death separates us. নীরবে শব্দহীনতায় মৃত্যু আমাদের আলাদা করে দিচ্ছে, একে একে সরিয়ে নিচ্ছে প্রিয়জন, চেনা জানা, কাছের দূরের সবাইকে। কি এক মৃত্যু শীতল ছায়া বিস্তৃত হচ্ছে, ছেয়ে ফেলছে পুরো আঙিনায়। এই মৃত্যুকে আমি কি দেখেছি কখনো? হ্যাঁ, দেখেছি অনেকবার, কখনো অজান্তে, কখনো চিরবাস্তবতায়। কিন্তু এই জন্য ভিন্ন রকমের দেখা, একে একে সরিয়ে নিয়ে যাচ্ছে আপনজন, আপনি, তুমি, তুই, সবাইকে। না বলে, না কয়ে নিয়ে যাওয়া। হায় মৃত্যু, তোমার শক্তির কাছে আমার পরাভূত। আগেও ছিলাম, তবে আজকাল একটু বেশি তাড়াহুড়ো করছো। এত কিসের তাড়া? জীবন নিয়ে তোমার উন্মাদনায় একটু বেশি রকমের বাড়াবাড়ি হচ্ছে। জানি তুমি হানা দেবে আমার কাছেও, কিন্তু জেনে রেখো আমি আমার ভালোবাসার তরঙ্গায়িত ঢেউ রেখে যাচ্ছি। তুমি আমাকে নিয়ে গেলেও ওগুলো নিতে পারবে না। পারবে কি? হয়তো পারবে। হৃদয় ভাঙার মতো ওগুলো হয়তো টুকরো টুকরো হবে, মৃত্যুই হয়তো নিয়ে যাবে, হয়তো ভাসিয়ে দিবে অথই জলে, হয়তো ভাসিয়ে দেবে আদিগন্ত বিস্তৃত নীলে, যা নীলাক্রান্ত হয়ে ভাসতে ভাসতে পৌঁছবে কখনো কোথাও কোনো এক আপ্লুত হৃদয়ের কাছে। মৃত্যু কি নিঃসীম, মৃত্যু কি শীতল, নিরন্তর একাগ্রতায় একটু একটু করে সরিয়ে নিচ্ছে একে একে সকলকে। তুমি, আমি, আমাদের। Death is infinite, death is cool, constantly, concentratedly, moving little by little, one by everyone, you, I, everyone. You
Wonderful.
will get, yeah. And my second poem is Sculpture. I'll read in English, and Leonardo will read in Spanish. Leonardo, do you have the Spanish translation in the WhatsApp?
Yes, yes, ahí
La
va.
Escultura. Okay, I'll read in English first. The sculpture, La Escultura.
La escultura.
From
En la densa neblina, en la densa capa de neblina, esculpo la forma de tu cuerpo. Toda la mañana, suavemente esculpiendo, con los ojos cerrados me poso, entro en las pesadas sábanas de la niebla y sus asentimientos helados sobre mi mejilla, sobre mi oído y mi nariz, indican las idénticas manos, idénticos labios, idénticos ojos, los hallo con tal naturalidad. Tu torso flota sobre ese río, yo conquistaré su discurrir. Tu figura florece liberándose, dejando atrás la luz del sol y el efímero cuerpo de la niebla entretejida. Estás con mi alma, a su raíz, a sentimiento y profundidad. Aminur Rahman.
the sculpture. From the mist dense cave, I curved your body shape, gently sculpting all morning. With my eyes shut, I sit amid the fog's heavy shades as its frost settles on my cheek, ear, and nose. The same hands, the same lips, the same eyes. I find them with such ease. Your torso flows on the river. I shall conquer its flow. Your figure blossoms, freeing itself, leaving behind sun's light. The fogs ephemeral body. You are entwined with my soul, its root, plinth, and depth. Thank you. Gracias. I think Aisha joined already. No, Aisha is not there. Okay. She's supposed to join. Okay. She sent me the message actually. But anyway, now the second round. We will read one poem from each of the poets. And first is again Malakai Edwin from Malaysia. Malakai, Dr. Malakai, can you please read your poem?
Thank you, Amiruddin. I'm going to read a poem. This poem is very much my concern for the environment and the kind of climate change that we are subject to at a global level. The poem is entitled Sanctuary Slayed. When I was a child, the thunder was a distant away. The lightning was a brief flash. When I was a child, the trees stood firm. The winds blew dead leaves. When I was a child, the rains came in their time, the fruits in their seasons. Now I'm a grown man, and I fear the elements. The thunderclaps rattle my home. Lightning burns across the skies. Rainstorm turned roads to rivers. Now I'm a grown man, and I have lost my sanctuary. The waves rise and sweep us away. The ground opens and swallows us. The howling winds cry death. All has gone awry. The earth strikes back with a terrible vengeance, the price for our avarice. Now I'm a child again, lost in a darkness, devoured by dread, drowning in despair. Thank you.
Wow. Beautiful, beautiful, Malakai. It's a really wonderful poem.
Thank you.
And now I request, actually, I'm requesting Dr. Paramita Mukherjee Mollik. Can you please read your poem, Dr. Paramita?
Yes. I wanted to read something else, but I feel I'll read a poem which I made a video into, and Anup Jalota ji had first time in his legendary career sang an English song on this poem, and I love this poem a lot. Love grows. When life passes by and by, when you want to leap and reach the sky, when you first fall in love, it is mere attraction, not the deep-rooted love. Love grows by and by. Love expands like the blue sky. Love has no definition. It is neither mere fascination. It is something which grows with age. It is a lifelong process, not a short phase. Love grows by and by. It is like the unending sky. Love is not like a fairy tale. True love can, those stories pale. In love, thoughts count. When you need him, he is around. It's nice to know that love is around. It's nice to know in love you abound. The joy of a life encompassed in love has no end. Life ends, but love never ends. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Paramita. Beautiful poem. And now again, the Kashmiri poet, Kashmir, India, from Dr. Uh, uh, Professor Ayaz Rasul Naski. Can you please read your poem, Ayaz?
Now the choice is yours, English, Urdu, or Kashmiri.
Up to you.
Then let's go with English.
Yeah.
This is a poem. This is titled Morning at a Dying Lake. Other poets have spoken about climate change and other things, so the idea came to my mind that I should read this poem here. Morning at a Dying Lake. The wide green lotus leaf like a cradle holds a bunch of crystals sparkling up into blue sky. As rows upon rows of lotus stand guard to last secrets of the lake. The multicolored plumes lead the orchestra playing the last post to the glory of dried up wells in the mountain sockets, still laced with the blemish of deodar trees, and the sky in handfuls seeks refuge in the pools on the ground, left behind by the shrinking lake. Bees, after a night's sojourn, crowd around the lone daffodil on the bank. A butterfly wades through the morning air, and the big beaked kingfisher angles for fish that no longer exist. Thank you.
Thank you, Ayaz Rasul Nachke, for a beautiful poem. Now,
Thank you.
again, we are going to Taiwan, and I know it is a very late night in Taiwan. It is almost 12 o'clock, at midnight in the morning, actually. So now this the platform is for Dr. Yang Chichu. Can you please read your poem, Yang Chichu?
Okay, I will read my poem Museum. Death collected in a museum. Corpses, animals, funerary goods, one by one, to be a collection. From the dead, I learned about peacefulness. All the turmoil caused during the excavation now separated. The outside noises from the cabinet from the museum, viewing the history of death instantly is a declaration of human ignorance. Thank you.
Very good, very nice. Mute.
Yeah. Thanks for your wonderful poem, Young Chichu. That's a beautiful poem, and thanks for participating in this session. Now, Aisha is not there but we can switch over to uh, Leonardo Harmon. Leonardo, can you read one poem for us in Espanol?
Bien, muchas gracias. Empezamos entonces con... Wow, ¿cuál? Bien, triunfo de la muerte. Todo lo que nos rodea es muerte, Heráclito de Efeso. Pieter observa la esfera que invierte la imagen del mercader y su bolsa de monedas. Los caseríos burgueses de Breda se extienden sobre la línea difusa del horizonte. Las ventanas se fugan sobre ventanas. El presagio de la guerra se proclama con las campanadas que incendian el cielo, en las esquinas de los ojos, en la espesura incierta donde sepultan las aves desorientadas por el temporal, en la intersección de los cadáveres de los ángeles, donde el tiempo gotea sus ácidos granos que corroden la inocencia, en los vértices laberínticos de la noche de los bosques, en el ancestral eco donde las larvas anidan, en los cráneos arrastrados por las espumas, en la osamenta de las estrellas que estallaron hace siglos, en el escatológico alfabeto de los oráculos de dioses amasados de ceniza, en cada porción agónica del todo encangrenado, está la sombra de mi último grito. En los galopes lúgubres de los jinetes de la peste, con el esqueleto de sus corceles, con las ruedas de los crucificados en el horizonte, en los extremados muros de las fortalezas humeantes asediadas por los ejércitos despiadados de las erinias, donde las famélicas gárgolas se alimentan de los miembros amputados por la espada, en las barcazas que transportan a los hijos de las plagas, con sus pústulas negras y sus cruces rojas en el pecho, en cada extensión de la lanza que se incrusta y traspasa a los suplicantes, está la sombra de mi último grito, en la mueca grotesca de los juglares en el banquete rodeado de ratas, con el fétido aroma de los campos de batalla, donde se pudren al sol los cadáveres cuando los flagelantes peregrinan llevando los cuerpos de los niños en las carretas, en cada fragmento ulcerado de mi patria, está la sombra de mi último grito. Las campanadas de Breda son una profecía de marfil. No triunfará la muerte, aunque esté escrito, y las parcas corten los hilos de huesos. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Gracias, Leonardo. Yeah. Now, actually, I don't want to read my poem. I want to converse with a few important poets are here. So I have some questions. So the conversation will be in English. So maybe the Spanish they can understand a little bit. I have one questions to Malakai. Malakai, are you there?
Yes, I
Yeah,
am.
my question is to you because of you're a professor emeritus in a very renowned university in Malaysia, and you are handling all the young stars for many days. What's your impression about the uh, new generation as well as those who are writing actually? And do you have any specific message for them? Very shortly, you can describe.
Sure. I've had the pleasure of working with young Malaysian writers. Last year, we had a special project to get young Malaysians to write in English. And from that project, we actually had a publication called Malaysian Millennial Voices. And it was really interesting to see how these young men and women in Malaysia who write in English, they are very much concerned about uh, the political situation in the country, in the world. They had interest in a lot of issues like the environment, issues that, though they dealt with cultural issues which uh, emerged from Malaysian context, but with a lot of universal resonance. So I was very pleased to see how Malaysian writers are aware of these concerns. And so that was nice, something good to see. And there were some poets who clearly were beginning to show maturity. And we saw this a year later when we had when I organized the Malaysian poetry writing competition. And again, some of the poets who appeared in the Malaysian Millennial Voices were then shortlisted and became winners in this competition. So I'm very positive about Malaysian writing in English, and I think we will see Malaysians in the international literary arena. Thank you.
Thank you. And at the same time, actually, Malakai, we just edited a very important book of Asian best short stories in Asia. Though it's a terminology is best or something, it's a
Yes.
very difficult to define. But my question to you is because of you handle Asian writers, and what is your opinion about the latest what trend is going on? Whether you like it, because of you're a very senior writer and the new generation writers, yeah, I'm sure you got a lot of new generation writers piece.
Yes.
So do we what's your impression?
Uh, Firstly, I must say that the best Asian short stories that was published by Kitab, uh, our focus for that issue, the 2021 issue, the theme was on the new normal, and therefore the stories that we received were written very much around the pandemic and how people were dealing with it. But what I found interesting was, although each of these writers were writing about the pandemic, the new normal, the lockdown that they were experiencing, it's how we had really good Anglophone writing. And by Anglophone, we mean people from different countries who write in English, and therefore we had a taste of Indian English, Malaysian English, Singaporean English. We had someone writing from Canada and Japan. So there was a wide range of writers who were writing in English, and I felt that they showed how the English language was able to carry their experiences, their concerns, the issues that they were sharing to a broad international readership. And in my introduction, I talked a lot about how important it is that we are able to claim the English language even today among us. We use English language. Each of us use the language, the basic English language, but it carries our worldview, our cultures, and I think good writing, good Anglophone literature does that. So that was what I see in the present state of
Okay.
Anglophone literature. Yeah.
Thank you, Dr. Malakai. It's a really wonderful expression what you just mentioned. Thank you for participation.
Thank you.
Now my questions, because I want to because I have sacrificed my poems because I want to hear from you, people, because of some important issues, because of all our important poets are here. And Dr. Paramita Mukherjee Mullik, you are a scientist by profession. You are writing. I'm also a pharmacist, but doesn't matter. But you are a scientist, and you are writing poetry, and recently you are working with the music also. Anup Jalota is a very important singer in Asia. And what do you think about the poetry and the lyric, and the music and the lyric? What's your impression about this controversy? Because of sometime in our language, the poets are very sensitive about not to write the lyrical verses because of they thought he will be considered as a lyricist, but not to be converted to poet to a lyricist. So what's your impression about it?
If you basically think, our poetry is lyrics, every song is based on lyrics, and lyrics are nothing but poetry. Yes, we are sensitive, we poets are sensitive to write poetry as lyrics, but basically every singer I have talked with, even Anup Jalota ji, or any singer that is I have talked with, they always say poetry is the beginning of a song, it is the origin of a song. So I feel that yes, we poets are very important for songs, because without our poetry, without our writing, a song cannot be made. So although we are sensitive to call them lyrics, but basically our poetry, they are lyrics which bring out a song. When put music to a poem, it becomes a song. So I feel like, poetry and lyrics, it's the same. The emotions, the thoughts, that is sung. So I think, although it's sad that, like, I feel singers are more known than us poets who are reading poetry. So that is something
Exactly.
sad. But lyrics and poetry is the
Yeah.
same, I feel. Yeah.
Yeah, thank you, Paramita. It's a really you rightly pointed out. Thank you, thanks for your participation. Now, the last questions to Ayaz Rasul. Because of end, we want to hear from Chichu, her that Taiwanese poem. But before that, I have a questions to Ayaz Rasul Najki. Ayaz, you are writing. You are a very important novelist because I remember your Shruti Nard, na? That your great
Satish
novel,
sir.
Shruti
Satish sir.
Shah. Shruti Shah, right? Shruti Shah. So you are a very important novelist as well as a very important poet, and you are writing in three languages: Kashmiri, Urdu, and English. So because of a lot of controversy, because of when you just write a novel, there are a lot of because I understand from talk to you and reading some of your piece, you are a very digging the life. You want to dig the life, and as well as you want to focus some really cruelty of life to the people, as well as your poem is very lyrical. And so my questions to you is, what when you just write a novel and the poetry, do you think some conflict is there?
As such, no. I mean, no, I actually believe that creativity is one indivisible whole. It's an organism, one indivisible organism. And then it is now how you express that, which dimension you take at which point of time. The time and space decides my genre, whether I write a poem, whether and also the poem selects its own language also. Whether it goes out in Kashmiri, whether it goes out in Urdu, whether it goes out in English, or whether it goes out as a piece of prose in fiction or otherwise. So, my understanding of this whole thing is that basically the entire creativity, the whole gamut of it, is one indivisible thing. It is only because of our own faculties of mind and our limitations of putting it together that we attempted from this angle, we attempted that angle. Yeah, Aminur Rahman sees it from the top, I see it from the bottom, and that perhaps is the only difference in the whole creativity experience. So when I write something, you talked about Satish Sir, the land, the Valley of Demons. Now that is basically a novel which is historical fiction, in the genre of historical fiction, where I have tried to take liberties with our 5,000 years recorded history. Mind it, Kashmir has a 5,000-year-old recorded history. And I tried to take liberties with that. With the result, my characters in Satish Sir flow from one period to another period. They just amble here, go here, come back. They are in 20th century, they are in 5th century, they are in 4th century, they are wherever they want to be. But the whole thing turns out into a one cascade of stories running parallel to each other and coming to a conclusion also, though life has no conclusion. One. Number two, after that, I have written a novel which is purely fiction but allegorical in the sense that that's the story of three species on an island, an abandoned island which doesn't have a king also, and the species are the mice, the pigeons, and the cats. So the whole novel, around 400 pages of the whole paper that you used in that, is actually eaten away by these three species and how they live on that island and how conflicts take place within the species and
Hmm.
inside the species also.
True.
So that is my next project that has already gone to the press.
Oh,
Now,
that's great.
the question is that you asked a question about to Malakai, you asked a question about younger writers. If you give me 2 seconds, 2 minutes, I would like to respond to that in terms of my place. Our young writers are today writing very beautiful poems, very beautiful literature, and I sometimes feel it is really amazing because our writers in this part of the world have gone into English writing very recently. We used to write in Kashmiri, then at the most we switched over to Urdu, which was our official language also till recently. So we excelled in those languages. But 90, post 90, Aga Shahid Ali,
Hmm.
the Kashmir American poet, country with our post office
Hmm.
fame, after Aga Shahid Ali, the whole floodgate of English poetry opened here. Today we have
True,
very good
true.
Englishmen writing beautiful poetry. Okay,
Thank you, Ayaj. Yeah,
thanks.
very shortly, you just described little bit. It's a long discussion point
It is a
actually,
long discussion.
long
That's right.
discussion. But we got some idea from you. It's really wonderful, and we are actually end of the session now. I will request Chichu, can you please read a short Chinese poem that is a Mandarin or Taiwanese? What you say? One poem for us before concluding the session. Chichu, last poem for this evening. Unmute.
It's very difficult to me to read in Taiwanese. So I can read in Mandarin, but Taiwanese language is not easy for me. So I can read one more, the museum in Mandarin. Thank you. 博物馆，死亡收藏于博物馆，人体、动物陪葬品一一典藏。我在死亡发现极境，所有挖掘时的纷扰都隔绝，玻璃柜外、博物馆外喧嚣，观赏死亡的历史，瞬间也宣告人的无知。Thank you, Avinu.
That was actually last reading of this session, and before concluding, Leonardo will conclude the session. But before that, on behalf of FIEL, I'm Aminur Rahman. Thank you all the poets from Malaysia, Dr. Malakai Edwin, then from India, Dr. Paramita Mukherjee Mollik, and Ayaz Rasul Najki. Then Bangladesh, Aisha could not join because of the internet is interrupting, because of we are actually some part of Dhaka is storm is going on, so internet is disrupting in this time. And at the same time, thank you Chichu and Aisha for attending this session. And this is the 5th meeting of FIEL, Federation for the International Meeting for Writers. And thank you, Leonardo Gaston Harmon, to organize such a beautiful event from Asia, and Tebil is in Bangladesh. So thank you all, and those who are
Thank you,
seeing
Aminu.
us.
Thank you, Aminu.
Yeah. Now session.
Thank you so much.
Now Leonardo will close the session. Leonardo, can you close the
Bueno,
session?
muchas gracias. Thank you very much a cada uno de ustedes. Es un honor, digamos, tenerlos. Así que, thank you, solamente. ¿Sí? Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for watching us.
Bien.
Meet again.
Surely. We'll meet in RG